It's a weighing of what you think is good and right for you to do.
I guess morality is possibly your ability to live and thrive.
Morality is things that you were brought up with, respect for one another.
To be morality is something which actually take everyone together and which may not harm you, not harm me as well. So taking everyone together is morality to me.
I feel like morality is probably, I would like to say it's universal, but I also think it's individual. I think everyone has their own individual morals that maybe are shaped by their own environment that they grew up in, but it was like nature versus nurture, if that makes sense. But I think there's universal morals, right, which are like everyone kind of agrees, like do not murder.
A set of rules and values someone has that would allow them to live a good life, really, you know, kind of thing.
It means different things in different situations, and I don't think it's something you can box as this is what it is. There isn't a right or wrong answer to what is morality.
Morality probably, to me, it means my best way I can live, not pushing myself to any ridiculous extents.
A lot. Because the culture where I'm coming from, we actually consider morality as the high standard. So morality means a lot to us.
I agree that morality for me would be the difference between right or wrong. It's that, yeah, it's the voice that kind of guides you when you're about to do something or have like a behaviour, and that kind of voice is like, is this right or is this wrong? Do you agree with what you're doing or do you not? Should you be doing this? Should you not be doing this?
For me, it's to embrace and to enjoy my community, to share things.
It means acting and behaving in a way that would not offend or hurt anyone else, wouldn't in any way hamper someone else's opportunities and things like that. Just a general level of fairness between humans.
Totally against human slavery. Should be abolished all over the world. Everyone's got free will to live.
I think we should forget all these kind of things which used to happen in ages ago, which was a dark past actually. We should move forward and we should just forget about it. That's the worst thing anyone can ever imagine, being a slave. So I think it shouldn't happen in society ever to anyone.
I think it's disgusting. I think it needs to be eradicated. Human trafficking, I actually just did a uni assessment on it, and I was completely blown away by how much it actually happens, and I thought it wasn't, I didn't think it was ever that prevalent. I was like, oh, that's something that happened years ago, but the fact that human trafficking and human slavery is still quite large in poorer countries is heartbreaking. Like, it's disgusting.
It's really sad, and it happens here in Australia. It happened here with the Aboriginal people, how they were shafted off to the missions. It happened in my Indigenous community back in New Zealand, the same thing. We had a hegemonic race that came in and dominated the Indigenous people. It's the most cruelest thing any human being can ever do.
It should never have happened in the past, but it's part of history. You know, people travelled over to other countries and saw that some people weren't as developed or as advanced as them and assumed that they were lesser, and so there we are. But nowadays it shouldn't happen, ever. We should have learned.
Definitely, yes.
I think if it's unnecessary. So if it's, say it's for food, I think that's necessary. But if it's just hunting or killing of animals, I don't think that's necessary at all.
Oh yes, it is. It is. I mean, animals are animals. They have their lives as well. So they should definitely treat it as same as a human beings, and they should be considered as the same as a human being.
Yes, I'm actually a vegan because I think it's horrible.
Oh yes, it's cruel. That's cruelty.
Yes.
I don't actually think there's any difference. I don't think there's any difference between eating a cow or eating a cat, to be honest. I mean, apart from the emotional connection, it's meat. That's, I mean, unfortunately, that's what it is. I do eat meat, so therefore, in my mind, I should be just as willing to eat a cat or a dog. I mean, people eat chickens and keep them as pets. I don't really think that's one of those issues where people look at it as a morality issue, because we're living in a Western society where we're brought up with pork, pig is, you can eat that. You can eat beef, you can eat lamb. Can't eat dog, can't eat cat, and that's because that's our society's rules. I don't think there is any difference between slaughtering a dog to feed your family than there is between slaughtering a pig to feed your family, which isn't a popular view, but realistically, it's the same thing.
It's got something to do with commercialisation. Dogs, cats, birds, that kind of thing are pets for the home, the household, whereas we've been brought up knowing that sheep, cows, that sort of thing are there for mostly food and mass production.
Well, this is a bit tricky question, but I think all the animals should be treated as same.
I don't think there is a difference for me. I know a few people who do eat meat who think, well, it's okay to eat meat because cows are different to dogs, but the reason why I've decided to cut animal products and meat out of my diet is because I believe that there is no difference, and there's not a difference.
Oh, that's a hard question. That really is a hard question. I can't answer that because no, I can't answer that. Too conflicting for me because I love my meat, and then I love cows, and then I've just gone and said that I love animals. That's too hard for me.
It's tricky because, say, there's some people in Asia that eat dogs. Certain parts of our culture, we love dogs, but we eat cows and the Indians worship. So it depends on where you're from and your environment as to what you deem a pet and what you deem a food.
Do I think that our amusement or pleasure for hurting animals or whatever should be a consideration? No, I don't, because they're beings, they're living forms. But if you're going to eat meat, then basically what you're saying is, for my pleasure, I'm going to kill something. So, in that sense, anyone that's eating meat says yes. My pleasure overrides the right to the animal to live.
Yeah, definitely. So, riding of elephants, that's definitely wrong. I even think, in some cases, riding of horses, I don't think it should be done for amusement or fun. Animals in shows, that kind of thing, I don't think that's very, very right.
It does, because I've seen so many animal races, they actually treated animals so badly, and animal gets hurt in those, and that's not a good way to treat them, because as a living creature, they should be considered as the same as a human being, because if something hurts us, something is going to hurt them as well. So whatever we are feeling for us, we should actually treat same as animal too, because they're going to feel same pain, same emotions, same social things as well. So we should treat them same as what it treats us.
I think it does, and I think it shouldn't.
What do you mean? Because you got the zoo, you got the animals that are locked up. Is this the amusement? Is this the domestic animals? Is that the question about? Is it the freedom about the animals that we have in the house, or is it the ones that have been locked up? And I disagree with zoos. I don't like those zoos. I don't think they should be. They should be locked up. They should have sanctuaries. Those zoos have got special times, and some of them in little cages. That's what I disagree with that. And then the domestic, I can't understand that question, because there's two perspectives. There's the locked caged ones, and then there's the freedom ones, the domestic ones. As for the domestic ones, a cat and dog, yeah, let them do it. Don't lock them up. And I disagree with Sue's. But you see, that's a hard question too, because you've got the sanctuaries. They've got all those, the covers so they won't escape. So that's a hard question. That's a big question.
No. Like, for example, I haven't gone to Australia Zoo or any zoos. Although I love the animals and I want to see, I've not seen a kangaroo yet. I'd love to go and see some animals. I don't really necessarily agree with the enclosure of animals.
My obligation to animals is muddled up with the fact that I love a juicy steak, but I don't want to kill the cow, which is dreadful. And I see the documentaries on television where, from farm to table sort of thing, and I like to think, if it was me, I could do it. I don't know if I could kill that cow to get my steak, and that's dreadful. It does pose that moral question of how easy is it for us to detach ourselves from that piece of steak that we're getting out of the Woolworths meat bin and the cow we see at the Royal Show and think, oh, isn't that cute?
I suppose treat every animal as I would a human, just with respect.
Oh, my personal obligation, I love animal first of all. I want them to treat it as same as a human being. Always consider them and just feel their pain. Feel them that they are a part of your family.
My obligation for animals would be to not partake in any suffering, which would mean not contributing to the food industry that kill animals, not eating meat products or dairy products or any animal products.
To nurture and care and protect.
It's less of an obligation, just a conscious kind of change. But again, it's a recent thing in my life. This sort of opened my mind a little bit to being a bit ignorant in how I eat animals and their rights and stuff. I don't know. Tricky one, that one.
I think it's condescending to say that I think it's admirable, but I'm going to be condescending and say it. I do think it's admirable. I'm a lazy individual. I don't feel like going, and that's really what it comes down to. I don't feel like going to the effort of having to figure out, all right, I can't go there because they're using gelatin products. I can't, and milk products, and a lot of animal right there at the ice cream store. I just want an ice cream. And that is really, I think, the crux of many people not wanting to go that route. We're lazy. We want it easy. We've had it easy.
I'm pretty sure a vegan, someone who doesn't eat any animal product at all, like no eggs, no milk, mostly potatoes and lettuce, kind of thing.
Vegan? Yeah, vegan is no meat, no dairy products, nothing. That's kind of vegan, yeah?
Yeah, they just eat vegetables. They don't eat nothing of meat at all. Nothing. It's all vegetables. That's vegan vegetables. That's all they eat.
They're not using any animals in for anything whatsoever. But I kind of like that means you can't eat honey. Bees exist to create honey. It tastes good. I think there's a reason for that.
There actually isn't one. I mean, that's like saying if there was a reason to stop using small babies because their skin's beautiful and you can extract stuff for them to paste on your face, then we should stop doing it. Yeah, there's the same reason for extracting anything we extract from animals. There is no reason. Basically, if you're saying humans have rights and you're saying that animals, you love them, yada yada, No, none of us should be eating meat. None of us should be using animal products. We should all be living in a vegan utopia. But unfortunately, due to, perhaps not now, but historically, we did need protein. But we've evolved now to the point where we can synthesise most of the things that we get from animals. So realistically, no, it's not necessary to continue killing off animals so humans can gain products from them. Because moralistically, if you're saying that animals have rights and humans have rights, then you have as much right to kill a human and eat it as you do a cow.
Just because I think humans do need meat to sustain healthy living.
I personally believe killing any animal just for your food, it's not a right decision, because there are so many vegetables, there are so many other options which you can consume. You do not have to eat animals. To be very frank, animal was a food habit when people was illiterate. They were illiterate. They didn't know what to eat, what not to eat, how to cook. And now, since we are living in a society where we have all the appliances, everything, we know how to cook, we know what to do, we have so many spices, so we can cook from anything, vegetables, anything. We have so many things nowadays. We don't have to eat animals. So if we stop eating animals, we can still live, and we probably maybe a better life.
I was raised that way, so it's a behavioural thing for me, because that's all I know. If I was raised with not eating meat, then you'd get a different perspective from me. But I was raised and taught it's behavioural to eat beef, eat pork, eat lamb, and then have pet lambs, and then go outside and have pet lambs in the paddock. Contradictory, isn't it?
I would. It's just you have to also appreciate habit and the way we've been brought up and the things we do. You go around to your mum's for tea, she's making roast lamb. You don't all of a sudden refuse it. It takes someone with a real, purpose and real dedication to it to make that change.
Generally, people aren't doing it because of food is a pleasure sensation, and they get pleasure from that. Particularly in a very immediate society like the one we're living in now, food is very pleasurable, and you can get it right now, and you like the taste of it. It's yummy. I'm not saying that vegan food, I've tasted some great vegan foods, but the general foods, if you look around here, it's not catering to the vegan market. So people are going for what's easiest.
It's a bit of a different direction. I don't very much like synthetic materials, just because it's bad for the environment, whatnot. So if it came down to it, I would much prefer to use animal sources. And if they're going to be eaten for food anyway, they might as well use the whole animal than throwing away wastage, because then I don't think that's right if we've got wastage.
It's very hard, since you're living in a society where either deliberately or non-deliberately you consume animal products for her. Because if I go outside, if I want to eat a bread, that consume a kind of things which maybe eggs or all the dairy products. So it's very hard, and once you live in the society, first you are restricting your own options. Then if you live in family, you just can't sustain with being a vegan. That's the whole problem. I personally want to be a vegan, but it's really hard, because you just can't. My wife, she's purely vegetarian, she don't eat, but she struggles. When she go out, she can't even eat. And if I go out for like 2 days, I have to carry all her food and nuts with me. If I start doing this, that would be the whole one bag, just carrying all these kind of things for me. That's why it's maybe that's what I'm a bit reluctant to being a vegan. But it's good, if you get the options, why not?
It's not going to stop me, no way. Love my food. Yeah, no, I'm too late to stop. No, and for me, I have to prepare myself. I have to prepare myself here, mentally, physically, and emotionally, if I needed to change. Right now in my life, no, I'm happy. I'm happy with having my big breakfast in the morning, bacon. This morning I had bacon, eggs, tomatoes, sausages. No, I'm happy with myself, the way it is. As I said, in order for me to do that, I'll have to plan it here, my body, emotionally, and have the support network around me.
Vegans, the way they are. Just in the same way a religious extremist tries to import their views on me without any feeling or consideration for how I am. I often find that vegans push their views on you in a way that isn't, it almost makes you sort of stand off a little bit and not want to take part in it. But I agree with some of the things that they do. I just wouldn't go that far.
Moral confusion is that pretty much everybody believes it's wrong to harm, hurt, exploit, kill animals, other animals, without any necessary reason, but yet nearly everybody does it anyway, for completely unnecessary reasons. So their morals tell them that it's wrong, but yet they still believe it's okay to do.
The classic situation is being upset that an animal is killed in a zoo situation or in the wild, while we still eat animals and use them in terms of the dairy industry or the egg industry. So the moral confusion is, if you think it's wrong to hurt an animal in any way, then why is it any different to hurt them in terms of getting food or transportation or entertainment out of them?
What would be unnecessary? It would be reasons of pleasure, convenience, or just habit. Reasons that are completely unnecessary.
I think it's wrong to inflict unnecessary harm on animals. And I guess the thing that I think about is, what is unnecessary harm? Because that's the difference between being vegan and making changes to the way we treat animals. So what is unnecessary? That's what I had to come to grips with 4 years ago when I became vegan. And that is, anything that takes the freedom or the life away from an animal is unnecessary. We can get all the things we need in terms of food from plants, and there are other things that we can wear in terms of clothes and just other things that we don't need to use animals. So my understanding of unnecessary harm is simply, it is all harm. In the past, I would have looked at animals and just thought, oh, you just need to treat them better. That we need to stop thinking of them as commodities. These are not beings for our use, despite the fact that we've got thousands of years of seeing it that way. So that would be how I see unnecessary harm. All harm is unnecessary.
Whatever we think is that we deserve as an individual who exists, then shouldn't every other individual deserve the same thing? So if it's morally wrong for someone to hurt me, isn't it morally wrong for me to hurt someone else? Same goes for somebody to own me or use me or exploit me or kill me. If I see that as wrong, morally wrong, then it should be morally wrong for every sentient being, shouldn't it?
I don't think there's any difference between the animals we love and the animals we eat or wear as clothing. It's just that we've personalised, we've got to know an animal. So if you have a pet pig or a pet cow, you probably won't want to harm that animal because you've got a personal relationship with them. So it's really just a matter of empathising.
Convenience is not a good enough reason to harm someone else or to kill someone else or to use someone else as a resource. Convenience is not a good enough reason to do that. And it's not, I mean, convenience is just a habit really as well. We all have habits. I mean, if your local takeaway store closes down and another store opens up, your life doesn't end. You just find somewhere else to get your food. It's pretty simple, isn't it?
Oh, I think my obligation to animals is just not to use them. So it's not difficult to not use animals, just as it's not difficult to do other things that are morally questionable.
I think we all have the moral obligation. I mean, that comes back to morality. Don't we all have the moral obligation to behave and act and towards others the same as we would expect for ourselves? Shouldn't we all have that moral obligation? Doesn't mean we all follow it, but we all have it.
I think the main reason that I'm vegan is that I love the companion dogs that I have in my home. And when somebody pointed out to me that a pig or a fish or a rat or a bird or a lizard is really no different to the rescue dogs that we have, I started looking at the situation differently. And so I could no longer look at an animal as a commodity or as something I could use. This is a sentient being that, however they express themselves, don't want to die, don't want to be in pain or be fearful.
You stop using animals. You stop using animals for completely unnecessary reasons, which is all reasons. It's very easy. Don't eat them, don't use them, don't kill them.
Well, I think it actually is quite easy to go vegan. I think we complicate it a little bit too much and we think about it as a big thing. And really, if you've made the decision to go vegan for moral reasons, if you think it's wrong to use animals, it's actually a matter of just making a decision. Like right now, you don't have to plan for next week. Do it right now. So start eating things that are vegan. And we all have them in our house. That's the beauty of being vegan. We have vegan foods in our house, you know, and that's the main way that we use animals. 99% of how we use animals is in food. So the first thing to do is just stop eating non-vegan foods. So I'd start there. And there are just so many great resources out on the internet now with great recipes and things. You don't have to go hungry. By any means, you don't have to go hungry. So my advice for going vegan is do it right now. Don't put another piece of violence in your mouth.
A reason not to take that kill that cow to get my steak. And that's stressing. I'm realistically, no, it's not necessary to continue. I don't feel like going, and that's killing off animals. I don't feel like humans can gain products from.
Have 2 pet dogs, but we don't mistreat them. 4 pet sheep, anything like that. Up until treat every animal as I would a human, just with respect.
Oh, my personal opinion, I love animal first of all. I want them to treat it as same as a human being. Always, if you consider the convenience out of this, you can easily just feel their pain. So used to feel them that they are a part of your family.
No, I think it's like, for example, I haven't gone to Australia Zoo as well, or any zoos. Although I love the animals and I want to see them, I think I can live a life without any meat from animals or any. I don't really necessarily agree with the animal enclosure of animals, because we may as well just let them occur naturally, and if you want to go and see them, you have to go where they are.
Not going to stop me. No way. It's cruel, my thing. That's cruelty. No, it's not too late to stop. And for me, I have to prepare myself. I have to prepare myself here. So until we see animals being mistreated, if I needed to change. Right now in my life? No, I just don't like that. No, I should be hungry. Whoever does that. This morning I had bacon, eggs, tomatoes, sausage.
human beings that a dog would. And yeah, they're no different. You can see it here. Look how cute the cow is. Hey. Look at those black and white spots. That's a cow.
And I want to show you something that Tilly normally does. I'm not going to show her right now because she's pretty excited, but sometimes when I go back here, I can do